Hi, this is Len Edgerly for the Kindle Chronicles podcast, and this is episode 728 on Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, in New York City. I want to tell you about the Amazon event that I covered today. I took the train down from Boston yesterday, the Acela. That was a great ride, and I'll be flying back to Portland, Maine tomorrow after I get this episode up tonight and go out and have another nice dinner here. I'm in the Tribeca part of Manhattan, which is known for the Tribeca Film Festival, and it's got a nice artistic vibe to it. This event, which I was invited to attend along with, I think, probably 200 or 300 other media people. It was a very full room. I think there were more people here than in February, which was when Alexa Plus was first introduced in a meaningful way, saying it was coming, it was going to be rolled out. And the rollout has been quite slow. I put my order in right after that February event, and I ordered the Echo Frames 3 because it said it would be able to handle the new Alexa Plus. And I didn't get my Alexa Plus until a week ago today on September 23rd. But now I think Alexa Plus it's for real. It's going to be available on all of the devices that were announced today, and I'll tell you about those. And I think one of the people that gave a demonstration said something to the effect that anyone who tells their Alexa device that they would like to have early access to Alexa Plus, I think you might be getting it this week. It's rolling out in a big way after a very cautious rollout this whole year, basically, up until now. And I think that what I heard from some of the people that I spoke with was Amazon was pretty wise, in my opinion, to roll out Alexa Plus, which is basically ChatGPT for Alexa devices, slowly. And they've been learning a lot from the customers who have been using it, and it has, I think it's been refined in meaningful ways. So I'm going to tell you about the hardware announcements they made, especially the Kindle ones, because of course this is the Kindle Chronicles, and after a tsunami of new... Oh, we're getting some action in the hallway from housekeeping. So I'm here at the Sheraton Tribeca, nice little hotel room that was just a 5-minute walk from Spring Studios where the event was held. But I will tell you about the devices, and then I'm going to focus on the first little story that Panos Panay had in his comments, and I think I'm going to wait for things to quiet down in the hallway here and see if this microphone's working. I'll be right back. Yeah, the microphone seems to be okay. Panos Panay, you probably recall, is the Senior Vice President for Devices and Services for Amazon. He came over 2 or maybe 3 years ago from Microsoft, and he'd been a big deal at Microsoft. He'd been head of the Surface tablet and a lot of new products at Microsoft, and he's obviously really put his signature on the devices and services that he took over that business from Dave Limp, who went on to be the CEO of Blue Origin, the rocket company. And so, well, let's just jump in. The new Kindles are all Kindle Scribes, and I love the Kindle Scribe. I was taking notes on my Kindle Scribe during the event, and I just jotted out my outline here for you. There are actually 3 new Kindle Scribes that were introduced. The one is actually cheaper, I think, than the current Kindle Scribe because it doesn't have a front light, and it will sell for $430. I think it'll be the same size, but it might be a little thinner, a little lighter. They really worked on the engineering of all of the scribes. and that one won't be available for pre-order until early next year. I just checked now. I didn't see any of the new Kindle Scribes on their website available for pre-order. So the new low-end Scribe, which will do all the Scribe stuff, you'll be able to read books. You just won't have that front light on it. For $430, that will be available for order early next year. The other two which were introduced today are going to be released later this year, and I have a feeling they'll probably be out before Christmas. One is a Kindle Scribe that does have a front light, and that's basically like the current Kindle Scribe. It's thinner, it's lighter, it has the bezel doesn't have a wide side on one side and a thin side on the other. It's faster. Some of the specifications, I think, have been improved. And that one, which does have the light, will sell for $499, and that is going to be available, as I said, later this year. The one that is most exciting to me, and I think will probably cause the most news coverage, is the Kindle Scribe Color Soft, and that's basically the Kindle Scribe as it has existed up until now, but it has color, and you can draw in color in 10 different colors, and there are 5 different colors you can use to highlight on Kindle or anything else that you're PDF or anything else you're working on. And I think compared to the Remarkable tablet that I have been experimenting with, the smaller one, this is the Remarkable Move, the color seems a little brighter on the Kindle Scribe from the chance I had to see it in the demos. So this is a meaningful improvement, upgrade for the entire Kindle Scribe lineup, and it's exciting to me. You know, I remember back when I was urging Dave Limp to consider making a product like this, and I even suggested that they call it the Kindle Scribe. So I'm glad this is a product which is not being kept on a plateau. It's now actually been refreshed in a meaningful way, and I think I'll have a chance to get the ColorSoft version of it for a review copy before it actually ships later this year, so I'll have a chance to talk about it at that point. So 3 new Kindle Scribes and some new Kindle capabilities that have to do with AI, and I think these end up being part of existing Kindles. In fact, I'm pretty sure of that. Certainly they will all be available on the Kindle Scribe itself. There are 3 of these, and one of them is called Ask the Book. And this is something where you highlight, and apparently you can highlight a paragraph. I'm not sure if you can highlight more than a paragraph, but if you highlight a paragraph in a book that you're reading, then you can ask questions, and you'll get answers that are free of spoilers. So you can't just, I guess, I don't know, if you ask, tell me what happens in this book, maybe the Kindle or the AI or Alexa Plus, whoever's talking to you, is going to say, sorry, Len, I can't do that. But the idea is this is a dialogue you can have with your Kindle book on your own terms that doesn't result in spoiling your continued reading of the book. And it feels a lot like what I've been hoping would be available, AI for the Kindle, because you can have actual follow-up questions too. You're not just saying, who is this character, or asking questions that just have one answer. You could talk about a single paragraph in the book for as long as you wanted, and you would be getting answers. Now, the thing which I have dreamed of, and you'll hear it in the conversation I had with Kevin Keith and David Nagar on the Kindle team, you can either type your question for Ask the Book, or you can write it longhand on the Scribe, which is kind of nice if you could just jot down a question, and then it will get turned into text, and then you'll get a text answer that has to do with your question, and you have a little conversation. It'd be having like a chat bot on your Kindle answering questions for as many questions as you want to have. They said that this is available when the Scribes ship and all. for thousands of Kindle books. Now there's millions of Kindle books out there, so that's a pretty small number. And I think that the first place that you'll actually be able to try this is the Kindle app for iPhone, for iOS, for iPad and iOS. So that's kind of neat that if you've got the Kindle app on an iPad or an iPhone, you'll have you'll be one of the first people to be able to try this Ask the Book feature, which is being rolled out. Now, a second AI-related capability is if you have notebooks, and I have lots of notebooks on my Scribe. I've got notebooks for this event and courses I take from Tiago Forte and all sorts of things. Now, with this new capability, we'll be able to search across the notebooks that you have on your Scribe. So you could say, for example, tell me everything that I have written in my notebooks about AI or about the limitless pendant, and it will pull answers based on what it finds on your Scribe in the various notebooks. I think that's pretty strong. That's something I hadn't really thought about, but it makes the device more useful, I think. If you're using the Scribe to take notes, then now you have this AI capability to have a conversation about those notes. It reminds me a little bit of Notebook LM, which is the Google AI tool, which I've enjoyed using. I've loaded my journals into Notebook LM, and then I can ask questions. How have my attitudes toward pickleball changed in the last 2 years, or something like that, and so there'll be a chance to have conversations with yourself or with the notes that you've created on the notebook with this feature. Then the third one is called Story So Far. And this is one I think Darlene is maybe going to enjoy, because when she and I were talking before I came down here, she was saying, I wish I could just find out, remind me of what's going on in the book. And well, that's exactly what Story So Far is going to do. You'll be able to, again, you're typing or you're jotting a note and you're saying, gosh, it's been a while since I've been reading this book. Can you tell me what's happened so far in this story? And that'll be handy. Now, one of the things that excited me, and I don't know if we're making a little news here on the Kindle Chronicles, but when I asked Kevin about the ability to talk to the Kindle and say, here's a question I have about this paragraph, using the Ask the Book feature, wouldn't it be nice if you could just talk to it, and if there was a microphone that could hear you? And he, I don't know if he was saying, gosh, am I supposed to say this or not? But anyway, he said, well, there is a microphone in them, all three of them, from the least expensive to the most expensive Scribes. When they come out, the hardware will have microphones, but they don't really know yet what they're going to do with it. But it clearly, there's a path via the hardware, at least on these new Scribes, to be able to actually talk to the Kindle and have answers. Now, you're not going to be able to hear the answers. I didn't ask if there are speakers, but I'm sure there's not speakers. But you'd be able to ask a question if that happens sometime in the future. Nobody's suggesting it's anytime soon. And the current Scribe does not have a microphone in it, as far as I can tell. So this is something new that they built into this next generation of Kindle Scribe, and it made me very happy to think that maybe this ability to talk to the book is going to get a little deeper. So that's exciting. The Scribe has been updated. It's not being orphaned in any way, and there's some pretty exciting things coming. I want to turn now to the Echo Show part of the program, but first I want to play you part of Panos Panay's introductory remarks at the start of the session at 10 o'clock in the morning. And unfortunately, I was trying to record with my iPhone using voice memo, but it was paired to my Echo frame, so that the what I captured on the iPhone was pretty poor quality. The Limitless Pendant, which I use as an aging device to remember what's happening during the day, it picked up some audio that I think is going to at least give you a little flavor of what Panos was talking about. He jumped right in with a story. Always a good idea for a presentation. He's probably been well trained by speaking coaches. And the scene was his home, and I think he has 5 kids, maybe 6 kids, some of them teenagers. And when he gets home from work at Amazon, the protocol is everybody puts their smartphones away, and they have this time that's kind of precious to them, I'm sure, each in their own way, and they talk. And when they talk, sometimes they get into disagreements, and he told this story with some humor. It was kind of fun. And I think one of his daughters, he said, she would invariably pick up her phone and just say, I need to search on this and find out what's right. And he described what happens next. He says his daughter picks up her phone, and then other people, including him, see her picking up her phone, so they check their phones, and he says, you just get lost in your phone. And then he had this to say.
Right then, you're lost in your phone. Right then, you lose the moment. Technology may have helped you in one way, but I promise you it hurt in another. Right, but now, something shifted. With Alexa Plus, there's been a shift of balance at the dinner table. When a debate starts, literally right when it starts, you hear this, Alexa. And the question's asked, and she joins the conversation, and she understands every question, and her knowledge is limitless. The trick, everybody stays present. Everybody. They're actually staying. My children are engaging each other. We're still in the conversation. Nobody is distracted. The essence of technology, right at that moment of fading in the background, comes to life. That is ambient AI. It's technology that's available to you and empowering you without getting in the way, without distracting you, without taking you away from what's most important. Today we're going to talk about new hardware. We're going to talk about new hardware across Ring, Blink, Fire TV, Kindle, Echo. Products that are empowering you when you need them, but are also working in the background when you don't. Products creating subtle shifts in all our behavior, driven by AI, integrated into the hardware, and flowing natural through the products themselves. Whether it's a camera catching what you missed, or your Fire TV updating you on a game, or your Kindle remembering exactly where you left off, these are products that are great on their own, but even more powerful when you connect them with Alexa Plus. I actually can't wait. I'm so pumped for you to see them. So let's step into it and get after it. We're going to start with Ring.
At that point, it was just a cavalcade of products, and there were Ring products, and let's see, the doorbell. What's that? Ring is the doorbell, and then Blink is the camera. And there was all kinds of amazing things that those parts of the Amazon family are doing. Not so much of interest to me here in the podcast, but I do want to kind of consider what he was saying there. I hope you were able to hear it. That scene at the dinner table where someone goes to their phone and you lose the moment, and he's making the case that Alexa Plus, ambient computing, ambient AI, shifts the balance at the dinner table because everybody stays present. You're not disappearing into the little screen in your hand, and instead the AI, Alexa Plus in this case, is joining the conversation. And this reminds me of when I was experimenting with the AI pin, rest in peace, it's been discontinued. Darlene got to where she really appreciated it. This was a little pin that I'd have on my clothing. And if I had something that came up and there was, say we were disagreeing, we were having coffee on the porch up at the cottage and something came up, I would just touch the pin and say, what is, how old is Tom Cruise, or whatever it would be. And it wasn't like I was getting it, an answer on my phone or, with my Echo frames. I can hear the answer, but she can't. She would hear the answer because the pin had a speaker in it. So it was like bringing the AI into our presence while we were having coffee, and we we stayed in the moment because when I ask the question, she's there, she's hearing my question, and she's hearing the answer. So I think he's got his finger on something that fits some of my explorations, which is how the AI is accessed matters in terms of the effect it has on relationships and what our lives are like. And if the AI is just another place where you disappear to get an answer or whatever, it is that's a problem. But if the AI is showing up at the table, or it's doing things which don't disrupt the normal human interactions, then it's not a problem. And in fact, it almost rolls the clock back to the way dinner was like before everybody had a smartphone. Now that's a pretty idealistic view of this thing, and I did get into it in my conversation with David Nagar and Kevin Keith. But that's a moment in this presentation that long litany of new products and services. But when Panos was talking about what was happening at his dinner table, and he was framing a lot of these devices and services as not just the new greatest thing and oh wow, but is there any progress being made to return our lives to our own control, to sort of human agency using the technology? This is something I'm going to be thinking about a lot in the coming days and weeks. But that is a good way to set up the news about the Echo the Echo devices which were announced. And there's 4 of them. And each one of these are available for pre-order now. If you go to Amazon, you can find them. And the delivery will be October 29th. There's an Echo Dot Max, and that's $100. That's the kind of the smallest. That's like the round sphere. That's like what my grandsons have got, Ryan and Jake. And that's kind of the entry-level Echo device. That will have Alexa Plus. And if you buy any of these now, when they come to your house in October, they will come with Alexa Plus. You won't have to wait and say, give me early access. They just arrive with the capability of Alexa Plus. The next more expensive one is that doesn't have a screen is the Echo Studio, $220. Now, the Echo Studio that I have is a great big thing, and it has really nice sound. I use it to pair with my Echo Show to have a stereo effect when I'm listening to music at the cottage. So now it's a ball, a bigger ball than the Echo Dot Max, and $220. I think the audio is supposedly really great, and it will now have Alexa Plus as well. Then there are 2 new Echo Shows. Echo Show 8, I think that's 8 inches on the diagonal. It's the smaller of the 2 Echo Shows, which is an Echo that has a screen on it. $180, available for pre-order now, delivery October 29th. And then the Echo Show 11 for $220, again, delivery on October 29th. Some of the other Echo devices do work with Alexa Plus. When I got Alexa Plus access, I checked the Echo Shows that we have in Maine, and none of them were new enough to work. They were 1st and 2nd generation Echo Shows, and so they just don't work with Alexa Plus. So I'll be ordering one of these Echo Shows so that I can start bringing ambient AI to our house. I kind of can't wait to see what Darlene makes of this, and Deb, when we're in Sanibel too, that when we can be at the table and maybe we're playing Mexican train dominoes with Pam and Marie and something comes up, and if anybody says, Alexa, what's the answer to this question, then Alexa will be joining the conversation or joining the Mexican train game. Like, what do you do when there aren't any more tiles in the bones? You could just ask that question, and you're not disappearing into your phone to ask the question and getting an answer. You're asking the question with this new AI in the room, ambient AI. So let me turn now. Let's see, what's the next thing I have in my. We've got the Panos story, and I think I'm going to go to the conversation I had with Kevin Keith and David Nader. Now, Kevin is head of Kindle devices and services. David is more in kind of the content area of Kindle. They both have long history with the Kindle team and have been on the show before, Kevin quite a few times. We were in a conference room and I used my lavalier microphones, put one on each of them. So the audio, you're going to hear them perfectly, very nice. Darlene helped me to set these things up flawlessly, so I had them mic'd up in 20 seconds. Unfortunately, there are only two of them, so my questions, I'll try to boost them a little bit as I'm editing. But you'll get to hear what these two guys were talking about. And this was the place where I had a little bit of the contemplative journalism experiment, because you'll hear that I suggested that we take just a little time in silence to just kind of reset ourselves. And I had the idea, well, we're going to sit here for 2 or 3 minutes of silence, and then we're going to have a conversation. Well, I think I lasted 20 seconds before I thought I don't want to freak these guys out. But you may hear Kevin say something like, "Thank you, that was nice." That was probably the only conversation of the many that he and David had during the day that began with even a little bit of silence. So that's the debut of contemplative journalism here. I'm trying to finish up here in time to get a good night's sleep, so I'm just going to run it, and I think you'll get a feeling for a conversation that I really enjoyed with these two guys that have been working to improve the Kindle product, and specifically the Kindle Scribe, for many years now, and it's exciting to experience their passion and their expertise at an event like this. Okay, let's see. My head is full. I bet you guys have had full of conversations. I thought I'd sort of take a few moments.
Please. Yeah, absolutely.
This is the moment of silence. The podcast isn't broken. I think where I'd like to start is.
I like that one. Thank you.
Yeah. I was listening to the audio, and my questions are really difficult to listen to because of the microphone situation that I was in. So I'm just going to paraphrase the questions that I asked. And the first one was for two guys that have been part of the Kindle project from different parts of it, the content versus the operations and devices. What does it feel like? What does it feel like to be part of this team? What kinds of things do you think of in 3 a.m? And this is what they had to say. You'll hear Kevin speak first, and then David.
Good question. Well, the word that came to mind when you were talking is proud, just because, just all the work the team's done. I mean, it's really phenomenal. Yeah. And there's a huge team behind all of these devices and the apps and the content and the software that supports these devices. And so it's really amazing to see these new devices come out. And then 2 is to see Kindle growth again. Yeah. So, we've been through a lot of arcs and ups and downs, and, this is our 3rd year of growth, very significant growth.
In number of sales of Kindles?
Yeah. Kindles and books.
A couple of different vectors, actually. It's not just growth of Kindles. There's always a percentage of the devices sold that are upgraders. And we've seen the percentage of new to Kindle, new to device, increasing as well.
What do you think's going on there?
We used to consider the gold standard of a customer someone who had bought a device and then also put the app on their phone so that when they have an opportunity waiting in line somewhere, they're reading. And we saw that they were engaged more, they were reading more, they were just sort of more involved Kindle customers. And then this time, we're seeing something I've been in Kindle 16 and a half years at this point. And I come from books. I was 20 years, at the publishing side of things. So for me, what is it, that for me, it's about the reading and now the writing, since we have Scribe. These are 2 fundamental, elemental parts of any functional society. I have a lot of theories about the impact that long form reading has on your brain. And anyway, everyone's been trying to figure out how Gen Z, how do we get them reading? How do we get them, off their phones, which they're so involved with? What we're seeing that we haven't seen before at any significant numbers is people who are traditionally phone readers on their Kindles, on the Kindle app, buying devices. Mm-hmm. And when you talk to them, there's sort of an unprecedented number of Gen Z in that number. And the word that they use most often, which we now have started to use in our own dialogue around the office, is sanctuary.
Oh, I thought it was going to be focused, but sanctuary,
which essentially is a much prettier way of saying the same thing.
Yeah. And so the people of all ages probably. You're glad to see some younger.
Yeah.
But some people just feel like their iPhones are not as.
They'll say, this thing doesn't ping at me when it doesn't tell me there's notifications that can't. What Panos said on stage today is, it's happened to me a million. It's even worse. I've closed my phone, having not done the thing I opened it for. Because I got distracted. Oh, I got 2 tabs.
So true.
Yeah.
Wait, what was I going to do?
And then I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. I took it to do this other thing, and I checked the weather, and I got a notification.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's exactly what we're hearing from customers. And you're seeing it in social media, too, where people are putting their phones down, picking up a Kindle and reading or writing. And then the second thing, so that's I think a big trend towards, digital detox. And and a lot of people just don't think of Kindle as a digital device, even though it is. They think of it as a sanctuary, a focus area. And so that's one area. And then the second is, you saw last year we revamped the whole line. The new displays and the new chipsets, the speed at which things can happen on the device is way faster. So, people used to be like, well, I can hold a device, Kindle device for 10 years and it's fine. The speed of our page turns, the speed of the experience needs to match a phone or come very close to it. And so that is our North Star. Because when you're bringing in new to people that are using a phone, that are younger, they don't have patience to wait, for a
big lag.
Like just that 1 second is a little too many.
Right.
And so that's why you see a lot of our focus on speed, fluidity, in the reading and the writing experience. And so all of our new devices we launched last year are just doing fantastic. And a lot of the feedback we get is around that. And then color, of course, just makes that experience even better. Comic books, graphic novels, you're getting a whole new group of readers coming in with new content.
My next question at this point was a reference to the Panos' story about the dinner table, and how it seems kind of ironically or paradoxically that the rushing pell-mell into the future of this AI technology and the other things that are being talked about at this event, is it too crazy to think that you're actually able to return to an earlier amount of sanctuary in our lives by some of this technology? And if so, I said that's got to feel good, right? And this was David had the first response to this.
People will tell you that they integrate new information differently when they're writing it versus when they're typing it. And there is a lot of scientific evidence that writing anchors much more because you're actively doing this. But you also need that sanctuary experience when you're writing. I remember one of my hiring interviews at Amazon. A woman was looking at me like this, with a laptop in front of her, and just never stopped pounding away.
Everyone has this experience. It's awful.
And I was sort of shocked by. This is 2009, and I was sort of like, "What is she even listening to me?" And she's like this, but pound. And I could hear, and it was so distracting. And when you think about someone who interviews people a lot, your handwriting, if I'm like this, you don't feel the same sense of distance.
Although
first of all, there isn't this physical barrier, but no, I didn't say that for you to close it. That's totally your call. But like, there's a different interaction between humans when you're doing this.
as David was talking about the barrier of a laptop, my laptop was open, but I wasn't using it, so I did close it. And then I told him, I said, if someone is taking notes when I'm talking, but they're writing their notes, I don't feel like it's as dismissive as if they're typing on a machine. And I recall all the notes I used to take as a reporter in my reporter's notebook.
Absolutely. And that's why these devices, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's good.
That's why these devices are, we'll get questions, what are you going to have a keyboard, or are you going to have and keep trying to edge it towards your laptop or your tablet. And we talk about this all the time. It's like, no, we're going to draw the line here because it is, you have so many choices of other devices that will do a million things for you. And this is unique in the respect that it will give you that reading and writing experience in a completely contained, you can focus, protected. Great word, actually.
What's interesting about the story Panos told is that's kind of going across the portfolio, across all our devices. So what's interesting is the term ambient was something we've talked about for a long time. This was the first ambient device, the Kindle, because it was all about the device disappears. And you're just in the author's world, you're in your own thoughts. And now Alexa's that same way. Our TV's that way. You don't have to pull out your phone. You can, to figure out what, kind of live TV show is on. And so you see that theme that Panos was talking about across everything.
So you're saying that Kindle was the first ambient device? I'm not sure I'm following.
Yeah, so ambient, like the way, it's a bit of a maybe inside baseball term, but the idea is the technology's there when you need it, and then it gets out of the way.
Okay.
So instead of you having to pound in and out of apps, basically the device disappears from hand. Alexa's in the background. She's not, and when you need her, she's there. Or when there's a notification, she's there, but she's not, in your hand.
Yeah. For my next question, I shared with David and Keith that I've been trying to train myself on my Mac to use voice dictation, and there's if I hit the control key twice, the microphone just appears and I can start talking. And I can talk. I'm a fast typist, but I can talk a lot faster than I can type. So I'm just starting to use voice in my interaction with my computer. And I was curious if they see voice as kind of the next frontier in the disappearing of the devices and the sanctuary where things are happening without the mediation of entering things like typing even. And when I talked about reading Ulysses with Alexa Plus and my Echo Frames to try to decode some of the literary allusions, David, who's got a background in publishing and in books, had a funny reaction to that.
Is the AI as confused as the rest of humanity when they try to read James Joyce? Because,
I get a lot better grades in English class than I ever did.
I never understood it.
As I continued my question about voice and if this is like the next frontier for ambient computing, I've in my research getting ready for this event, I was surprised somewhat. I think I knew what was happening, that the growth in audiobooks has been pretty phenomenal lately. And does that sort of point the way toward more use of voice in the interface on the Kindle and I guess some other devices as well? And this is where Keith surprised me by revealing that there are microphones built into these new Kindles, the Kindle Scribes.
So but both these devices, all the Kindle Scribes, are going to have a microphone in them. So the ones that we're launching now. Now it's not turned on because we haven't, locked down the features yet on exactly how we're going to use it. But we believe, like you do, that there's an option. And so when we have new features to talk about, then we'll turn on the microphone.
The hardware will be ready.
The hardware will be ready.
And that wasn't the case.
Not yet.
Right. Right.
And will even the non-front light scribe have?
Yeah, all three of the new scribes we announced today will have a microphone.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's not turned on yet. Sure. We're not announcing any features, but to just to let you know, kind of the idea of where you're going is very much in the back of our mind of how do we think about making the interface even more natural. So there's a lot of
That's pretty exciting to hear that there are microphones in the scribes and that voice is kind of making its way, depending on, turning it on and if the use case makes sense for them. And it reminded me of, back in the old days when the ebooks were just coming on the scene and there were people questioning it. Are these really books? And isn't reading a book something that has to be on paper? And David interrupted me with this heartfelt response.
But for the record, I never believed that.
Good.
And I feel the same way about audiobooks. I mean, when I was at Random House, audiobook was one of the businesses in my group. And there was a lot of evidence that children, for example, understand vocabulary 2 to 3 grades above their reading level when they're listening to it, because they understand context. They can suss out the context listening to the story, where if they were reading it, that word would trip them up and stop them. But because the audiobook just continues, and storytelling was verbal for eons before handwriting or even cuneiform showed up. So, it is the original form. For me, there is no difference. I just want you consuming stories. I have a strong belief that there is a huge societal benefit when its members are consuming long form stories. Because if you can follow a 300-page book with its ups and downs and story arc and finale, you can follow the long arc of a relationship with another human being, you can a government, or a political debate. So I think it is hugely important. I am completely indifferent whether you would like to read it in print, on Kindle, audiobook, and our job is to make sure you can find that content and we can lead you to your next one and you have a beautiful device. And now we're taking the same approach to writers.
The writer, say that about that.
With the scribe.
with the scribe. Yeah.
They also want that focus.
Yeah.
Because if you're, I can't remember where I saw it, but someone started selling a word processor only.
That's right. Well,
It's the same.
There was a little keyboard.
Yes.
Yeah. Hemingway version.
What was it? It was recently.
Yeah.
And again, it's that notion of stripping away distraction, because if you are a writer, which you are, the worst thing is you to be in the middle of a thought and racing. I'll never forget Stephen King, one of my favorite authors, talking about his writing process. And he said, I don't know what the characters do. I'm as excited as the reader is. And he's just typing away. He's like, oh, look what happened, And so if you're all of a sudden, it used to be just the phone might ring.
Yeah.
But if you're typing on your laptop, it's 50 different things that can distract you. So we're trying to bring that exact same focus and, to use the customer's word, sanctuary to the writing experience too.
Let's talk about how much time we got.
We got about 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about color.
Yeah.
What
Well, I'll show you. Right. So when you're, so this is a PDF that people, download. And now, we're trying to distill different concepts in color. This is obviously kind of monochrome, but being able to now, have color to highlight, different things, for me to be able to be, kind of doing this.
Yep.
It's way different than, and sometimes you remember better in color. So like when it was that red highlight, that I made. Panos talks about this is it's not actually what I wrote, it's how I wrote it that I remember. And so you can just see like the power of being able to do you see,
now, when you did that highlight, you didn't change it. And
so
highlighting?
There's a little button, and the button I've, you can tie it to whatever you want, but I've done it to the highlighter here. And then you can change, we have 10 colors. So I can change to, kind of aqua here, and it's not a very good contrast there. But, you can have all sorts of different colors. And so, it's way better. And so think about this across PDFs. We're a very document-based culture. So every day we're reading lots of documents. And now I can just read and highlight and underline and ask questions, using my pen. And then, obviously seeing things in color,
Yeah.
just makes a big difference. So you can get a sense for, kind of how it just makes the concept pop. And then for creators,
we have some members of our team who are showing us the most extraordinary art.
yes,
they have.
I think I have some on
Do you
here.
have
They
Genius
were
stuff?
artists,
It's just, we didn't even know, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's showing us this
Yeah,
vista, of a canyon, and
Yeah.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
it
I don't-
actually looks like art. I am no art connoisseur, but to me, it looks like art.
yeah. This is like when he did in about 5 minutes.
God.
But we have some super complex. All the things that you're seeing, up on our screens are all his.
Wow.
So there's some. I don't think he is.
Yeah, look at that.
Here.
Oh my.
This just blew me away.
So somebody said they're going to use that. That's
Yeah.
So so creators love to think in art. So you get a lot of concepts, a lot of writing. You can go back and forth and keep things. Books obviously show up really well in color.
I
So
think equally important to the color, because the other two devices will have this as well, is the redesigned home.
Oh, okay.
you-
All right, I can see that upper quadrant here.
So this this is a scratch pad
Okay.
where you can just one tap and start
Yeah,
taking notes, so you don't have to go. There were so many taps to
Yeah.
get to your notebooks. Now you can just start, and then once you put it there, you can then move it to another notebook
Yeah.
or save it or whatever. This is your jump back in. It's the list of things. It can be a book, a document, your notebook, whatever it is you've been using most recently. You can decide that your scratch pad only needs to be this big, and you can see more things.
Yeah. Control.
This is anything you've added recently that's not something that you've used right away.
notebook,
Anything. And then the ability, the way we think about it, your library is like your library at home. It has books in it for the most part. Your workspace is going to have anything you need. So you can create
Renamed it.
yes.
Uh-huh.
So your workspace now, you can create a folder
I
in
love
which
that.
you put a book,
Yep.
a notebook in which you're taking notes on that book, and
Yes.
2 documents that somebody sent you, articles that are related to that book. And you can name it, Kevin and David, and this is the information you need for your conversation with us. And so I think that the redesign of that software and that home experience makes it both a productivity device, but also just much more joyful, to keep your thoughts organized across whatever medium you're using. Yeah.
Well, let me just drop one idea
Please.
for you.
The idea I dropped was, couldn't there be a scribe the size of the remarkable ProNote Move, that small pocketbook-sized tablet that I've been working with, and I really love it. And the only thing is, it can't read Kindle books. And if there was a something that size, I've found my note-taking is different somehow on the smaller tablet, and so there's an advantage to that. Plus, anything that the Kindle team does with the Scribe is going to have the secret sauce of being able to read Kindle books on it. And David and Keith both nodded appreciably to my idea, and I think they're used to me showing up with ideas that I think would be great for them to do, and sometimes they do them. I brought a remarkable tablet to Dave Limp way before the Scribe was even thought of, and I even said, gee, you could call it the Scribe, which they did. And some of my AI ideas, I won't claim that the AI ideas I passed along in February are showing up here in this, but I enjoy thinking ahead, and they know that I'm an appreciative person who's beckoning them forward in different dimensions, and so it makes it a nice conversation whenever I get together. And we parted on time, and the next person was going to come in and do an interview with these guys, and everybody had a very full day.
Well done.
Thank
Bravo.
you.
I feel like we should end with a moment of silence.
Happy to, by the way. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for coming down.
Well,
it's
it's always a pleasure.
always good to see you.
Before I close with a recording of one of the product demos of the Kindle Scribes that was after the big event. I just want to have share a couple of kind of a lightning round of things which struck my fancy, and I want to pass along. One is they have this thing called OmniSense. And what this is taking the various sensors that you can get, like on a Ring doorbell or a Blink camera, and then the Echo Shows, all of these pieces of hardware that can sense things going on and share that between devices. And one example they had was if somebody's forgotten to feed the dog in the house, one of the Echo Shows might see it, and then it might be able to just put out a reminder via Alexa Plus. And then they showed some examples of things that can be done with the Ring camera. And one that was probably the most moving part of it, for me at least, that they showed a video of something called Search Party. And this combines the Ring camera with Alexa Plus and other cameras in a neighborhood. And what they showed a dog, I forget the name of the dog, it was a cute dog, and the dog got out, and the dog was loose in the neighborhood. And so the family that had the dog that got away, their Ring cameras spotted the dog leaving, and that's how they sort of knew the dog was out. And then the photo of the dog was shared in kind of a network effect, so that other people, and I think they're all opting in, people that were in the network could see that, well, this dog is out loose in the neighborhood. And then one of their neighbors, they had a Ring doorbell or something, and the dog shows up on their Ring camera, and that sends an alert to the original family saying, hey, your dog has been spotted over here. And then, the people say, hey, we've got your dog. And then there's a scene where, they're showing up at their neighbor's house with the lost dog. And it was pretty touching, and really a beautiful little video, raising all kinds of, concerns. But you can see, I think I had a conversation with a woman who wrote for The Verge. She and I were standing in line as we went in, talking about the different things that were going to happen. And she mentioned that there always seems to be a race between the creepiness of these new innovations and how useful they are. And if the usefulness of it is just slightly ahead, or maybe it has to be a lot ahead of the creepiness, then people just swallow the creepiness. It's like all the things we do with our iPhones, and who could be listening to our iPhones? Well, yeah, but they're indispensable. And so here's an example. You've got these Ring cameras that are, they can find your dog. And I suppose if you had your dog found by this once, the creepiness factor would fade, because if Sophie got out loose and somebody up with their Ring camera and their Alexa Plus found her, that would be pretty cool stuff. Another thing that I loved was when they were talking about all the different partners that they've got lining up to be part of Alexa Plus. One of them was the Aura Ring. And that's what I've got on my forefinger of my left hand, and it has all this biometric information. And each day when I wake up, the first thing I do is to tap on the Aura app on my iPhone, and then there's a little downloading of information from the Ring, and then it tells me what my readiness score was. And it was pretty high today, but I think it was 81 or 80, so I was ready for the day. Well, when this integration with the new Echo Show devices that have Alexa Plus on it and Aura, when I wake up and I've got my Echo Show, I won't have to tap on the app on my phone. Once it sees I'm out of bed and it recognizes who I am, I'll say, hey, Len, your readiness score is 80 today. Or Len, your readiness score is 62. You better plan to have some time where you're taking a nap or something. And on the screen, it was showing all of these different biometrics that the Aura Ring is capturing. And so, yeah, that's something I'm going to look forward to when I get my hands on one of these new Echo Shows. It's going to be able to talk to my Aura Ring. There was one little device that was mentioned. It's a $20 Amazon Basics Smart Remote. I think it's available now online. And it has, I think, 4 or 5 buttons that you can just program. And so you can, using Alexa Plus, you can say, okay, upper left button on the smart remote is going to turn on the lights in the whole downstairs of the house, or it's going to turn on the TV, or basically anything that is turnable, onable in your Amazon devices, you can be controlling them with this new remote. Lots of things coming with Fire TV. I sort of that's the part of it that my eyes glaze over. I basically say, okay, I don't know when the next time I can talk Darlene into getting a new TV, but there's going to be some 4K TVs, and you're going to be able to have Alexa Plus tell you what you might want to watch, and a lot of new things in that area, which were a little bit out of the realm of the podcast, but I'll just mention them in passing. So to sum up, the big story was 3 new Kindle Scribes were introduced, and Alexa Plus is real. It's not something that's, it's going to be rolled out carefully over the next 8 months. It's here, and with these new devices, which are going to be shipping October 29th, they can be in lots of new homes. And I guess if keep my enthusiasm under control here, but I guess what I would say is that if you've been not that thrilled about ChatGPT, you didn't want to fool around with it on your iPhone or all the different ways that this AI is coming toward you, but you're curious, and maybe you've got a bunch of old Echo shows that you've thought maybe you'd like to upgrade, or you don't have one of these devices that has a screen and can do the Alexa stuff, or you just want an Echo Dot. For $100 you could order one of these things, and it will arrive with this new AI capability to ambient AI. You don't have to hit any buttons. You just talk to it, and you can have a conversation with it in any room of your house that you happen to have one of these devices. I haven't seen too much that helps me to understand what Amazon has used to make this their AI. I know they've got a relationship with Anthropic, and Claude is one that I've used somewhat. I've tended to use ChatGPT more, but I think Amazon has just got all different kinds of sources and different LLMs and different proprietary components that go into Alexa Plus. And in the week that I've used it, and I've used it quite a lot because I've got it on the Echo frames, it's pretty good. I mean, it's right up there with all the other ones that I've been using for over a year now. And so the fact that it's going to show up in the home in kind of a frictionless way, I think is I can't wait to see what Darlene does with it. That's going to be the test. I'm going to try not to be saying, "Oh boy, we've got this. You've got to try it." I think when we get the new one that'll work, and we'll have it shipped somewhere in time. I'm just going to have it on there, and maybe someday she'll walk by and say, "Alexa," and then she'll ask a question, and then Alexa will have something other than kind of dumb Alexa, where she, answers a question or gives a recipe or something like that. And all of a sudden, there's going to be a version of Alexa on the screen that can have a real conversation. And stay tuned. Maybe Darlene will think that that's the end of it. And but she's learned to drive with the Tesla. The automatic pilot on the Tesla is something that's just the way she drives, and so she's kind of my test of when these things go from the enthusiast realm to just something that normal people can use in a way that's useful to them, and has more advantages than creepiness. And so I'll be looking forward to seeing how that goes in the weeks and the months ahead. Thanks for listening, and I think I've said everything I need to say about this. There was a real technical demo of the Kindle Scribe that I was going to tack on, but it was just too technical. And if you have any interest in it, I'd be glad to email you a copy of it. It's sort of raw, about 15-20 minutes of two people on the Kindle team going through all the specifications, and it shows how much work went in to do this magic, but it just seemed like kind of a jarring note to end on for this. So we'll end with recalling how often the word sanctuary came up in my conversation with Kevin and David, and just the energy and the innovation and a lot of good people that I saw here today, as usual, and made me very grateful that I could share it with you. Have a great day.